Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How is everyone this morning?
Awesome. And grateful.
It is with gratitude that we come here today. And I look at every face that came here today, and it's unbelievable. It really, really is. We sang the song, and by the way, thank you for coming. Thank you. And I just want to say again, thank you. This morning when we were singing Into the Garden, it brings back a memory. And the memory of Into the Garden to me, if you listen to the lyrics of that song, for me the lyrics speak very deeply. That's about my commune with infinite intelligence, great spirit, my guides, my loved ones. And it is in that time that I am free of thoughts. I am in direct commune with the spirit world. I don't want to be interrupted. How many of you have meditated and been in a meditative state? Quite a few. And when we're in that meditative state, it's a really good feeling, is it not? Right? And that feeling that we carry with that communion with the divine is sacred. It is so sacred. And when we leave that, we come back with this amazing energy. Then what do? Once we have all this amazing energy from the great divine, what do we do with it? Sure does change my attitude for the day. I don't know about any of you, but I want to give that to others. I have it to now give. So when I come into the garden, I'm meditating. I'm communing with the great divine. Which then brings me to my topic I'd like to speak on this morning, which is near and dear to my heart. The Dalai Lama, quote, "I am open to the guidance of synchronicity and do not let expectations hinder my path." What does that mean? I don't know. Synchronicities, guidance of the synchronicity, but expectations, what would expectations be? How would they hinder my path? Why am I standing here today? I don't know. Gosh, this is kind of crazy. I'm actually standing up here. How did I get here? How did I get here? And I need to talk about how I got here, standing on this podium and serving this church, not only today as a speaker, but also as the president of this association, which is kind of daunting for me. Like, how did I do this? Where did all this come from? Years ago, I've always been divinely guided. I didn't have the guidance like a lot of children did. I didn't have that guidance. I chose my imaginary friend's guidance. Literally. We would have sit-downs when I was little. I learned. How did I learn? I don't know. They spoke to me. I read things that they showed me to read. Years later, as my childhood continued, did I ever think this was divine guidance? No, this was my life. This is what I did. This is how I approached life. As I grew into adulthood, which was interesting, there was always a connection to some kind of spirituality. Was it living on a mountain in a community of children? Yeah, there I was. But it was all religiously driven. I was born and raised a Catholic, very devout. Church every Saturday, catechism, and I also had the Catholic upbringing, as in school as well. Okay, so we followed this along, so there was some kind of spirituality guiding me through my whole life. However, in my late 20s, things started unraveling. I wasn't who I thought I was anymore. I looked at myself and I said, oh God, where did I go? Who is this person that stands in the mirror? This isn't me. This isn't who I am. But I was dressed to the nines, okay? I was doing great dinners and meeting great fancy people. How sad was I? Very sad. But I could show you the pictures. I looked happy inside. Oh, God. You would think I had the life that everybody wanted. And they did. But what they didn't want was in my inside. I was living a dichotomous life at that point. Totally dichotomous. Here I am, holding wine, getting pictures taken with really important people. How exciting is that? But yet inside I am dying day by day. This isn't what I don't even understand this. And then one day it all came crashing down because I couldn't live it anymore. And people didn't understand. How could you give that life up? Are you kidding me? Divorcing? Living this life and you're just gonna leave it? And leave it with nothing? Have you lost your mind? No, I hadn't lost my mind. I was getting my mind back and my connection to the divine. And as that spark kept continuing to grow, I was being led by synchronicities, but I call it something higher than myself was driving me forward. This person who I am, who was there living this life, didn't have the capacity at that time to actually help herself. I needed divine guidance. And every time that divine guidance would speak to me, I would follow. I would follow. Is it Phoenix? Is it England? Where do you want me? And I would go, I wouldn't question. The only person I questioned was me. I'm not really good at this. Didn't make a difference. I wasn't good at it. They had something in plan. I didn't know what it was. Who knew? So here I would go. I was being led here. I was being led there. Spirits divinely guiding me, which would bring me to this chapel many years ago by a friend of mine who's on the wall over there. She was a reverend and had a charter of this church, A.R.E, which I am grateful that we go back many years. She brought me to this chapel. And she was speaking and wanted me to be her medium that day. I came in to this room and I said, wow, I've been here. This is amazing. The energy in this place is simply amazing. Wow. Who would have guessed it in a million years? This place in Massachusetts, please let me go back to Phoenix. Now it was fall, it was winter, I'm getting cold. but there was something about the draw, okay? So years would go by, I would be going back and forth to Phoenix, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and so on and so forth. But I knew there was a connection to New England. You couldn't take New England out of me, even though I'm not a New Englander. No, I was not. But I knew this is where I wanted and needed to be. Even if I didn't want the weather, it wanted me. So, as this going back and forth would happen years ago, I meet a wonderful man who's now my partner. And I didn't want to go back to Phoenix. Why? Because I want to be with him. I want to spend my undivided moments every second of the day clinging like a little clinging carrot right on to him. I don't want to let go. That's what I needed to do. That's what Spirit wanted me to do. And I became very grounded in being in New England and grounded within myself. Who was I? I would continue to serve churches. I would continue to do addresses. Years ago, shortly, maybe a year after I had met Brooke, one of the members of this church reminded me of this yesterday, something I had forgotten in this whole big web of synchronicity. She said, "Do you remember calling me Alicia and saying, I just read all about Lake Pleasant and I'm looking it all up and I think I need to be the president there?" And she said, "Well, absolutely, you need to do this." Well, guess what? I said, no, not time. Don't want to do it, no. Okay, all right then, Alicia. So I continued on, I continued to serve here, I continued to serve other churches. And what was it, a couple years ago, pre-COVID, or was it after COVID? I can't remember. It was in that time frame. They were in need of some help at this church. And it was a big joke, because they said, I'll be president. Did you ever think of being president? I'm like, absolutely not. Hard no. And I don't do memberships, and I don't do presidencies. And I couldn't even if I tried, so I'm done. We aren't even talking about this. Okay. She says, okay. I agree. And all of this sudden, my partner and I are coming here week after week and getting involved. And the dear Reverend over there, Cheryl, kept encouraging and encouraging. Then I heard there was a Dire Straits letter that was sent, which I knew nothing about. But of course, people are approaching me. Did you hear about the Dire Straits letter? Did you hear? No, but okay, whatever. I never read that letter. I never read it prior to any of this. I read it after the fact, because that's what's important. You need to know. I did not have knowledge of that letter. I wasn't a member, so I did not get the email. Did not ask for that email. Something happened in my home and in the community that touched me deeply. And that is a church is a community. It becomes a family. We become closely intertwined and knit just like our families at home. And when we come together in that energy and become that family, what happens if that family's doors close? You can't come home anymore. We're done. How would that feel? I've never felt that feeling. I've never acknowledged that feeling until it hit close to home. And then I felt it. And I'm like, how sad is that? How sad is that? So whatever I got to do, thank you, Spirit. I got to go down there. I got to do something. Put me on the, I'll become a member now. Okay. All right. Don't want anything bad to happen. I still hadn't read that letter. I called the dear Reverend and I said, I'm going to be president of that church. She goes, really? 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 And I go, yeah. Yeah. Do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not. But I'm going to be president. And it was that moment that I became president. I'm like, oh crap, what did I just do? I mean, I've been involved and I've done, sat in board meetings, but okay, and Spirit kept saying, it's okay, don't worry, just say yes. So what have I done my whole entire life? Okay, don't know what I'm doing. And someone in that meeting said to me, do you even know what this, absolutely not a clue what that means. Don't know, but I'm doing it. Week later, I'm driving into this little parking lot here where we need to go 10 miles or under. And I'm meeting Cheryl here because we needed to go over some business. And as I start pulling into the drive across the railroad tracks, guess what starts playing on my radio station? I have no idea what happened to my radio station. I'm pretty sure I was listening to not religious music at that moment, but all of a sudden In the Garden starts playing. And I'm like, what's this all about? Are you, okay, whatever. And so I've got it turned up loud because now, guess what? I'm paying attention. Oh, might want to get my attention. So I come in, Cheryl and I sit down, and we're discussing things, and all of a sudden, the Reverend gets up, and she says, oh my God, I've got to find this, you've got to touch this, you've got to get this, you got to get this. And I'm like, what? Get what? And she goes, just a minute, I've got to find it. I can't find it here. Wait a minute. I said, Cheryl, we can get it another day. We got stuff to do. It'll sit. And she goes, absolutely not. She goes to the drawer, pulls it out, and she hands me this item. And she hands it to me like it's a Fabergé egg. You've got to understand, like there's, and she hands it to me. And the moment she handed it to me, I was looking at her and I said, oh my God. And I could feel the energy of this. I automatically went into a trance-like state. This wasn't feeling energy from an object. This was actually connecting to the person in spirit. I looked at Cheryl and I said to her something I would never say during a trance-like state, and that was, touch me. You're to touch me now. And she went, okay. And I can only pass her experience. I get goose pimples, Alicia, but this came from deep inside. And then I went on to say whatever I said, because I don't remember after I trance. And I said, who did this belong to? And she said, that man right there, who was the president of this association. I've always felt a presence that comes and sits on this side. And I will go sometimes into a trance-like state. I could never figure it out. I knew whoever had sat there before was important. It was a man. My partner sat in a chair one day when he heard me say this and did a little of his own meditation, and he said, whoever that gentleman is, he sits there, he looks out the window, he looks at the house next door, the weather vane up top, looks at the platform, and then he looks over to the wall. A picture. And he kept doing it. So my friends, does energy live? Does energy live and exist beyond the here and now? And those synchronicities, I ask every one of you to please pay attention, because nobody in their right mind would have guessed I would be committed, standing somewhere, giving an address and saying, we are gonna do this. We are gonna do this because this is our home. This is our community. This is where I want to be, and Spirit Divine wants me to be. So think and listen when you're in that meditative state. Where are you being taken? Because you know the old adage, I think Steve Jobs said it, you can't count the dots going forwards, but you could count them back. You could connect them back. Can't connect them forward, but you can connect them from the back. So we don't always know. And where does the expectations come in from the great Dalai Lama? That would be, oh, I saw it in a vision and I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to end up. That's my expectation. I've been there, done that, people. And that'll take you really not where you want to go. Listen to the divine, follow what the divine says, and you'll be taking amazing trips to places you never thought imaginable. And thank you again, everyone, for being here, and we look forward to bringing you a great community, because that's what I want to be a part of.